Hello, my friend.
Hello,
How are you today?
Hello,
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
And you
Uh,
and you, Irfan?
I'm fine too. Thanks
Okay.
for us. Today,
Yeah,
I want to explain about is homework necessary.
Okay.
Uh, Homework is a way for teacher at school to ensure that their students study the material at home. It can be in the form of individual assignment or group assignment. Some people, including the teacher, believe that giving homework is good for the student because they will be forced to read and learn the material at home when they have homework. The problem occurs when we bring this case to Indonesia, where some people actually against the idea of homework. Some people believe that the school time in Indonesia is more than now for the student to be exposed with any subject, and that the student do not
Internet.
Irfan leg. Irfan,
Irfan, are you hear me? What's wrong, Irfan?
sorry guys, my internet is like.
Okay.
Okay, I will continue the.
okay.
Okay. uh this condition, let's ask to the question, is homework really necessary? Some teacher and also some parent believe in the idea of giving homework to the student. They believe that this bring good effect for the student, as they will study more about the material, which will make them smarter. Besides, some parents are actually more pleased to see their child to read the book rather than spending time watching TV or playing game on their smartphone. They consider this as a more positive behavior and also beneficial. In addition, some people believe that somehow homework build some good character in student personality. Some of some of the good character are discipline and responsibility. All homework has a deadline of submission. This condition is believed to build discipline inside the student because they will have to keep their punctually in doing the homework. When the student are already get used to their process, the character of discipline will grow naturally inside them. Sense of responsibility is another character that some people think the student will get when they do do the homework from their teacher regularly. They believe it they believe it because at the end the teacher will check the homework and give score to it. Student who expect a good score will do the homework seriously. On other hand, some people don't believe that homework can bring positive impact for the student. They think that homework will only be an additional burden for student, which may cause stress. They believe that the students are actually tired after all of their activity at school, and if the teacher give their precious time to take rest at home, this is definitely not good for their student as they won't have a balanced life. People who against the existence of homework believe believe in the idea that home is the place for the student to rest, and school is the place for them to do their activity. More importantly, if the school or the teacher think that giving homework to the student is actually necessary to ensure that they understand the material, then there will be a big question on how efficient the learning process in the school actually is. If it has already been effective, then additional team additional time to study at home should be a requirement. Those are some opinion from both sit, side of this ongoing debate about homework. Okay, maybe that's all I can say. Next.
Okay. Uh, Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Morning.
This second week meeting, I will read an article about how to prevent and overcome attack on WordPress. Activities carried out, out on the internet cannot be spreaded from cyber attack. This will be even more dangerous. If you have a website that uses the WordPress CMS. So if WordPress experience DDoS or brute force attack, how do you handle it? How do you prevent it? In this article, you will learn how to prevent and overcome attack on WordPress. Overview of DDoS attack. DDoS attack, distributed denial of service attack, is an attack carried out by repeatedly attacking the target website. This attack could be a ping or a connection request. The effect the attack is that the server become overload and inscrutable. How could all you notice the original visitor activity was hampered by the attack? Resources will increase and reach the limit so that overuser cannot access the website. As a result, professional genuine victor will feel disappointed with your website. Simply put it like a door ever entered by thousands of unknown people. This is the importance of a firewall and more security in website in order to prevent this incidents. Overview of brute force attack. Brute force attack. Brute force attack is an attack carried out by making requests for civilly and repeatedly to a website. This attack usually takes the form of multiple login attempts at adjacent times using one-to-one matched username and password from a list of approximate combination of passwords. The effect of this attack is that if the attacks manage to guess your username and password, they can access the WordPress admin dashboard. Prevent and overcome attack in WordPress. In order not be limited, you need to know how to prevent and overcome WordPress, like the two example above here. How to prevent once the way to prevent DDoS and brute force attack is not to use a firewall on the server side. However, if you have installed hosting on DevaWeb, you don't need to worry anymore because all DevaWeb servers are secured with immunity 316 CSA firewall and web application firewall. Although from the server side, it is safe with, but you also need to add security from the website side, namely by installing security plugins such as WordPress or Thames Security. How to prevent and overcome attack in WordPress. Explanation. Max login attempts per host is the maximum number of login the attempts for host IP. If there are more than 5 attempts, the IP address will be temporarily blocked. Max login attempts per user is the maximum opportunity for per user login attempts. If here are more than 10, the user's access will be temporarily blocked. This setting doesn't take into account and the IP used. Random IP address will also be blocked if using the same username with more than 10 login attempts. Automatically, ban admin user uh, is if for someone tries to log in using the admin username, their IP address will immediately be blocked. How to overcome? If you have already been infiltrated by an an attack or has log into the workplace dashboard, immediately change your password via cPanel PHP My Admin. In the user table, change your password to use MD5 WordPress Tech 2. If your website goes down due to DDoS attacks, choosing high resources to even raise the limit, rename index.php to index.php back and the crack and empathy index.html file. The goal is that the query process that is churned out by WordPress will stop temporarily so that the DDoS attacks will stop and the site of the website. If it feels safe, return index.php dot back to index.php and rename index.php into index.php or you can delete the index.html file. Conclusion, that's how to prevent and overcome attacks on WordPress. In addition to the methods above, it is also important to pay attention the level of complexity of the WordPress. Password and your soul, the vessel, the password or else account you have on the internet. As addition information, Dewa Web as the best Indonesian hosting also provides a security harding for WordPress service, so you don't have to bother doing security yourself if you don't have experience in the field of security hardening. This is article. Hope this article helps. Thank you, guys.
Okay, this is my turn. Hello guys, how are you?
I'm fine.
Fine, thank you, Riska.
Okay. Well, in this second week, I will tell you guys about a story, Sleeping Beauty. Do you know Sleeping Beauty?
I know.
Okay, I will tell you about a story, Sleeping Beauty. Once upon a time, there lived a good king and his queen. They had no children for many years and very sad. Then, one day, the queen gave birth to a lovely baby girl, and the whole kingdom was happy. There was a grand celebration, and all the fairies in the kingdom were invited. But the king forgot to invite the old fairy. The fairy, uh, she came to the celebration but was very angry. Soon it was time to give the baby with special wish. The good fairies wished her farewell and said, uh, may, the, may she grow up to be most beautiful girl in the world. She will sing sweetly and dance so well. She will live happily. All the fairies bless to the baby and give her beautiful gifts. When it was older fairy's turn, she said, when the baby 16, she will touch a spindle and die. The king and the queen were so shocked and begged the fairy to forgive them and take her word back, but the fairy refused to do so. When the others fairy saw the king and the queen crying, they said, "We can undo what the oldest fairy spoken, but we certainly can make it different. Your child shall not die when she touch the spindle, but she will fall into a deep sleep for 1,000 years. Then a prince will come along and wake up her." Hearing this, the king and queen were relieved, and the king forbade everyone from the spinning to the princess would never touch a spindle. The princess grew up to be a kind girl and help people in need. Everybody loved her. Years passed. When the princess was 16 years old, she was talking in the woods when she saw the old lady spinning. "What is this? May I try?" she asked to the old lady. Said, "Of course, my pretty little child." And the princess sat down to spin. But the moment she touched the spindle, she fell to the floor. She fell to the floor in deep slumber. The old lady took her back to the place, and the king and queen laid her on the bed and touched her in. They were very sad and called the good fairies. The fairies felt sorry for them and cast a spell over the whole kingdom, so that when the princess woke up after 100 years, she would not be alone in the place. Everyone, including the guards and the servant and the animals, were now fast asleep. For 100 years, they all sleep soundly. 100 years passed. There came a prince from far off the land. He, along with his servant, went deep into the forest and crossed many rivers. Once the prince lost his way and was separated from the rest of the travelers, he came to the sleeping kingdom and was amazed. The guard and servant, the cats and the cows were all fast asleep, snoring. And the prince reached the place and entered it. No one moved. Uh, the prince then found the sleeping princess. She was such a beautiful girl that the prince kissed her. By the time 100 years had passed by, everyone was waking up. One by one, the prince yawned and opened her eyes. He saw the prince and smiled. She asked him, "Are you my prince?" He was happy to her speak. The prince and princess fall in love with each other. The prince wanted to marry the princess, so they went to ask for permission from their parents. The king and the queen arranged for a royal wedding. All the clothes the bride were 100 years old, but she looked beautiful. But she looks beautiful. Son, soon they were married, and then they rode away to Prince Kingdom for far away. Maybe I just tell about story this. Any question, guys?
No.
I know. I think no, Riska.
Okay, we we can end this conversation.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.